Brown says, get that India. Big boy.
Call an ambulance! Maybe call a police! Oh, what a shot! What a shot! Campbell killer!
Hello and welcome back to a special edition of the Tip Sheet podcast. As always, I'm your host, John, also known as 4020. And joining me shortly will be my good friend, Sixties. And for this particular episode of the podcast, we have not only a special topic with some fantastic guests who are collectively driving the message that rugby league is for everyone in the most positive manner possible. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Sixties to introduce who we're talking to today. And I hope that everyone enjoys the topic and our guests and maybe can find a way to help support their incredible cause.
We love the game of rugby league, and one of the reasons that we love it is because it's such an inclusive game. The many variants of the game, like nines, masters, mini and mod football, touch footy, Oztag and wheelchair rugby league, have all evolved because people were looking for ways for the wider community to get involved. The rugby league that we're going to talk about today is Physical Disability Rugby League, the PDRL. And we're joined by a host of people who will introduce as we learn more about the game and maybe about how we can help it to grow. Firstly, let me introduce Rebecca. Rebecca is a volunteer with the PDRL and has helped to organise today's podcast. Thanks for joining us, Rebecca.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, look, we're very, very pleased to do this. And Rebecca, what we might do is to throw this first question to Che, because we're going to get a little bit about the technicalities and eligibility for PDRL. So, Che, first of all, welcome as well. And who is eligible to play PDRL?
Yeah, hi, this is Che. Thanks for having me as well. As you've identified before, physical disability is one of many different sports. Eligibility comes to having primarily a condition which is a physical disability. It can come from be congenital or come from birth or develop in your teen years or childhood, or you can have an accident. So that's primarily it. You need some main physical disability, whether it be some paralysis, some genetic condition, some amputation, a brain injury, just something that makes it hard for you to play able-bodied rugby league, although some of our guys are good enough to do that. And yet some of our guys, we focus here on getting everyone involved so as many people can play the rugby league. With the classification, that happens later. The main thing is getting out there, having some fun on the park. And to do that, you get your GP to fill out a form, and he sends it through, and we look at it, we see whether you're primarily physical disability, and then you get started and you get playing, and then you worry about classifications later.
Yeah, well, you bring up classifications, Chase, so I'll go to that with you now. And mixed disabilities mean that you obviously do need some sort of classification system for all your players. So can you just give us a little bit of a run through as to how that works in terms of identification of the players and how the rules then apply to the different classifications?
Okay, yeah. So so we do classify players into when they do get classified. We generally balance the teams at the Sydney level in an or classification, but when it does actually happen, we split them into A's, B's, and C's, and A having the least disability, the least effect on their ability to play football. That might be that you've lost a hand, for example, all the way down to a C, who's got all four limbs affected, or two joints affected, like a total that femur's been cut off, so that it impacts their speed and things like that. And then when we get those guys on the field, we have different numbers of A's, B's, and C's playing. That is what happens at the higher level. The main thing that affects our football at the lower level is we have classifications in a sense of guys that play tackle and guys that play touch football rules in the same game.
So, obviously, when you're playing tackle football and you're talking about physical disability football, I think you're all probably a bit mad to play the game, because I've watched some of it, and it's the tackle aspect is absolutely full on. But Shay, I want to stay with you and talk about some of the game rules that are specific to physical disability rugby league. Can you give us a bit of a quick overview about the differences with the number of players in the team, or the field dimensions, or the modifications to the rules that makes it different to mainstream rugby league?
Sure. And the one that I just mentioned with the red and black shorts is obviously something that really helps some players engage, and we hope that some of them step up and play tackle later now that they've got some experience. It's played 9-a-side in Sydney, and it's on smaller fields. The length of the field's the same, but we bring it in 10 metres on each side. And there's no knock-ons. So if you knock it on, that counts to a tackle on your count. Don't put it on the fifth, because you won't get your kick in, and because the kicks come on the fifth only. And that's the fifth kick is really limiting that to the last tackle is really important for our slower guys who are struggling, because otherwise someone just dumps it. You get into a kicking duel, and someone will put it downfield on the second. And these guys, and me myself, I'm not a fast guy. It just tires you out, and it's not fun. One of the lovely things about the game is because you can't kick on the fifth, everyone can be in the line, get back in defence, and you know that they have to engage with you to break through or to make some ground until the last. And then your faster players sort of drop to the back and try and cover that. But it means there's less you have to think about, getting, someone dribbling behind you and then picking it up as you stand and watch it go by. So those are two main rules. Those are the main rules, I'd say, the knock-ons. So that just counts, and the restrictions on the kicks there. Yeah.
Craig and I often discuss on our podcast that it feels like in the NRL there's sometimes over-engineering changes in order to keep things quote-unquote fresh. But I really like these changes for the PDRL. It's really common sense, and like you sort of were talking about, it allows people of the different classifications and different ability levels there to stay engaged and not just get punished for not being able to run fast.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we know that speed is a great asset to have, and some of us don't have it, and would love to have it. But straight run pulls players to us, and then hopefully we can pass. Most people, some struggle to pass, but they might be faster. There's a different mix of players. But if you're slow, you run straight, you pull guys to you, and then you get a good pass off to someone. So that's where the real team
rewarded for playing some footy. It's good. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for George now. So I just want you to talk us through how the Sydney PDRL came about and what teams are involved, both, I suppose, current day and maybe even at the start.
Yes, how are you, boys? Thanks for having us and myself on the podcast. It's just like people care about our sport. We always want to see new people come in and play the sport. 13 years ago, I was honoured to participate in the panel game in Sydney. I was the vice captain of the soccer team, which performed at the Sydney Games 2000. And love my team sports. I've got cerebral palsy myself. I was born with cerebral palsy, so team sports growing up was out of the question. My parents smothered me, and I hated sports with a passion when I was a kid and when I was younger. And I've always loved the team sports, rugby league, soccer, of course. But I thought to myself, how could I develop a sport which someone like me who's got cerebral palsy can play the game in a tackle or touch way, as Shay just mentioned. So we sat down with a couple of guys I used to play soccer with, and we formed the committee. And it all started with just advertising in a local paper, in the Daily Telegraph, saying that we want players who have physical disability to play or come and try in this sport, but they want to play. And I think the first session we might have had like 6 or 7, Shay and myself was there the first session, and it was more of a touch sport, but because we played the tags, of course we have like difficulties picking up the tag. We decided how is this game going to work? We had special consultation with Tasmatiri, who's at the top running national rugby league, and he suggested that we have a tackle component and touch component. And from there, like I said, we just used to do training. We used to have small scrimmages, between ourselves. But after a while, about a year or so, the boys started getting a bit like, oh, this is boring, and I want to play in a competition to win a shield type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's understandable. Yep.
yeah, so we recruited more players, and the first official teams, they weren't called the Souths and Roosters because we were starting from scratch. We had no money, we had no team names. We just brought together a set of rules. So the first team names are called the Western Sydney Outlaws, the Eastern Sydney Stingrays, the Northern Sydney Pirates,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Southern Sydney Cavaliers. Now, the Sydney Outlaws became the Rabbitohs today, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Eastern Stingrays are now the Sydney Roosters. The Northern Sydney Pirates are the Manly Seagulls, and the Southern Sydney Cavaliers are now the Newtown Jets. Overall, 4 teams have won the competition in different years. Souths have won it 3 years alongside with Newtown Jets, and the Sydney Roosters have won it 2 years, and the Manly Seagulls 2 years. We did have a Parramatta team, and we had a Manly team that they're now defunct, or they're now no longer in the competition, current competition. But we did have a Parramatta team which got set up in the year 2021. But unfortunately, due to COVID and players getting injured and not coming back, we had to put that team on the back burner. But I suppose talking to you guys now, we're getting the interest in the Parramatta area. We're going to have a Parramatta team. One of the players in front of me, Todd Dorwood, currently playing for the Sydney Roosters. But he's a big Parramatta supporter. He goes to every game, and he'll have a couple of words about what it means to him to play for the Parramatta Eels. But overall, the competitions are pretty much even. We've got some great players. As Chase said, we want to get more of the red shorts involved in terms of the getting quick meters, and the black shorts do the hard yards. Apart from that, yeah, it's a pleasure to play. This is my 13th season personally. I've played over 121 games. I've played for Australia along with Chase. Chase played for New Zealand for World Cups and Commonwealth Championships. So I'm honoured to play this great sport at a high level and grassroots level.
Yeah, with that workshop process that you just described during the formative years of the PDRL, that's fascinating. And I love that competitive drive really lifted the design process to where it went today. And that I suppose just speaks so highly of everyone involved and how they want to make this, no, legit's not the right word, but as competitive a format as possible. Like, it's just being driven on the back on those two prongs of people that love rugby league and people that want to, be competitive and win games. And that's coming from a really good place, I think, for the PDRL.
Thank you. I mean, it's hard to describe the game because you have to see it. I mean, we've got a guy named Billy Bustle, he's a fella. He's playing on the game. But this guy's a quad cerebral palsy, so all his limbs are affected. And when he gets the ball, people cheer for him. How can this guy play like the league? He's disabled. But we do it. And it's very emotional for me.
Of course.
It's a pleasure and honour. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about the documentary that was done by Adam Hills, and we certainly got to see the emotion that was involved in that World Cup that was held last year. But before we get into questions about that and about growing the game for Parramatta, which is what we're obviously have a special fondness for, I wanted to throw a question to Todd and Joel and it's going to be the same questions to both fellas, and we might get Todd for you to answer the question first, and then Joel. How did you each get involved as a player, and why are you so passionate about the game? So, Todd, if you could kick off with your answer first.
Me, okay. I got involved with PDRL through my friend Jeff, and that was back in 2015. And I was born with vision impairment and hard of hearing myself. So yeah, pretty much I enjoyed it since then.
And you've stayed involved with it over these years. You're part of the Parramatta team. It's obviously something that you're very passionate about, being able to play rugby league.
Yes, it was a great honour to play for Parramatta back in 2021, and I was a co-captain with another player, female player named Kayla, and so yeah, it was great.
Well, let's hope we can get that Parramatta team happening again. Now, Joel, what about your involvement? How did you get into the game, and why are you so passionate about it?
So I started because my dad was involved as the publicity officer in the early days, and my stepbrother was also playing, but I never considered it because I've got a neurological disability, and under most government systems, that's not classified as physical disability. So
yeah,
by that point, George came along and said, "Oh, do you want to train with us?" I'm like, "What?" And then that was back in 2012, I think, and then been playing ever since then. I'm pushing for close to 100 games by the end of this season, and played for a bunch of teams now, but been with Roosters for a fair few years now, which has been really cool.
And we'll be talking about the result of today's game as well. Had a bit to cheer about today. John, I'll throw it back to you for the next question.
Yeah, and we'll go back full loop to Rebecca here, because I want to touch on something that George sort of mentioned, and then obviously you were just talking about then, Craig, and talking about how another step in growing the game would be to get Manly and Parramatta involved back again, and obviously us as Parramatta fans have a particularly vested interest in seeing the Eels in this competition. But what do you need to make that happen? Because we know that growth in any competition is always difficult. There's a lot of risks and sort of challenges that come with it. So what are you guys looking at to expand your competition?
So I suppose recruiting new players. When you say, "Oh, you want to play rugby league," people get scared because, "Oh, my son's not playing rugby league." But since we have this red shorts component, we make sure we look after the players that way, where they won't get tackled in an awkward way. We've had minimal injuries in the association, thank God for that. We've only had maybe a couple of broken legs, a broken ankle, but over 12 years, that's pretty good going.
That is pretty good, yeah.
Of course, you're going to be sore at the time, but I think it's what I would love to see with NRL clubs owning the PD team. I know in England they actually own the club, so they train with the ladies and the men's team. And I think it's very important that the NRL team gets behind this concept. I know they know of us and they do support us, but to get a club like Parramatta Eels, which is a famous club, some famous rugby league names, and as Todd said, he's a passionate Parramatta supporter. I'm a passionate South Sydney supporter, and I've played most of my career with South, so it's like you belong to something. You know what I mean? And like I said, you can have a guy he's a quad CP, 4 limbs affected, playing for a guy that's got a lower leg amputee or a brain injury. So our sport's very unique because, as I said before, I played in Parramatta games and it was only cerebral palsy, but in our league, you could have 6 different disabilities on the field, and that's unique. That doesn't happen in the world of sports in general, let alone disabled sports. So I think everyone's invited as long as Chase said, as long as they have the physical element, disability, no matter who you are, you will be part of the league playing game for us. So I think if people are a bit intimidated, a bit scared, all I can say is come now, watch the game, speak to the players, speak to the officials, and get to know the system and how we work and how we play. And then I think once you start playing PD Rugby League, you won't go back. They're 10-year players like Joel and Charlie and myself. We're 10-year players.
Yeah, it's obviously a very close-knit competition. And I suppose speaking of close-knit, one of the things that Craig and I have discovered, and we've spoken to a lot of the junior clubs in the Parramatta district, it's the importance of volunteers. And, you know, whether it comes to refereeing and officials to setting up the facilities and just running the game day stuff. How do you guys go on that front? Do you have problems with volunteers, or is there always enough people there helping out?
We always need volunteers. You cannot have enough volunteers. Without the volunteers, the games don't run. From Ambos to us, to the managers, to the groundskeepers, to the mums and dads, to the families, to the friends. We need everybody to keep this game running.
And it's one of those things, isn't it? Oh, sorry, you go, Craig.
Oh, I was just going to say, and that's something that's I think is going to be very important. And anyone that's listening to this right now that is maybe not looking at getting involved as a player, but can get involved as a volunteer. When we give some contact information at the end of this podcast, just to if you're really interested in helping to expand the game of rugby league in the community, and you've always been looking at how you can get involved, this would be a great way to get involved. And get in touch on the numbers that we give you at the end of this podcast. Sorry, John.
I was going to say, it's true for the junior clubs in the Parramatta district that we've covered, and it's obviously true for the PDRL. But once you start thinking about what goes into just a single day of football, it's jaw-dropping how many people work behind the scenes, visibly or invisibly, to make it happen. So I'm not surprised to hear that the PDRL are open to having as many volunteers as possible, because these are Herculean undertakings when you think about all the logistics behind it.
Could I also mention too, the referees, they're a qualified game. No ref, no game.
Yes.
No referees come to the system. Tim Mander, referee the game. We've got Tony De Harris, he referees our games. We've got the first grade referees, and the players lift because he referees first grade and the referee us. So it lifts the players' spirit and morale. And as I said before, the hits from a tackle, red, black, short tackle is amazing. But you can have a concept between someone getting smashed and then on the next one, a red short player makes 30, 40 metres. It's brilliant to watch. It's very capturing the game. Very quick, powerful game. And like I said, we've got all sorts that play a wonderful game. And from officials to water boys, if you don't want to play, just get a water boy, take out the tea, whatever. And it's not the sports too, it's the social aspect. Some of those guys have broken families, they live by themselves, they haven't got the support. So we make sure that they get around, we go to the pub afterwards, we have a drink, be social. That's very important too. The game's a wonderful concept, but for me personally, it's the actual social aspect which really drives the PDRL.
There's some really powerful universal themes that we've covered in rugby league there, isn't there, 60s? And it's it speaks to how well the PDRL is doing that these are, again, at the centre of it.
Absolutely.
We say when we join the PDRL, we join a family.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a family. We might have our ups and downs and ins and outs, but at the end of the day, we're people that love footy, that want to see the footy go ahead, and we're just one big family.
Well, we could certainly hear when we spoke to you before we started recording, and we spoke over the phone. I could hear the enjoyment and the laughter after the today's football as you're back there. Are you actually in Cabramatta Leagues Club at the moment after the game?
Yes, we're going to have to move because someone else has booked this room, so we might have to walk and talk.
Okay, well, we'll power through as best we can just at the moment. I'm going to stay with George, but then after that, I've got a question I think both George and Che can answer. But first of all, George, the comedian Adam Hills has been a major ambassador for the PDRL. He's played the game in England. He played for Australia in the World Cup. And his documentary, Grow Another Foot, is an absolute must-watch for footy fans. George, you spoke before about how emotional you get about it. I got quite emotional watching the documentary. I thought it showed that emotional connection that the players have for the game and just how physical it can be as well. What would you hope that any viewers would take out of watching that documentary?
As you said, very powerful documentary. It highlighted different players and what we had to go through. For example, the Australian team had to fly from here to England, of course, and the team contracted COVID and gastro, and that went to the whole team.
Yeah.
We had to actually play games on the back of that. So we had to go. It was challenging mentally and physically, but I think as each game went along, we got a bit better. We had a 4-day turnaround. So we met the guys from the Gold Coast that made the Australian team. We had a 4-day camp, and we had to go to the World Cup and play the likes of England and Wales, and of course the New Zealanders. So it was challenging. But I suppose a message to any viewers that's thinking, oh, I've got cerebral palsy, or I've got an amputee, ABI injury. I want to play, and all I say to them is, give it a go. It won't hurt you. Like I said, and your mates are good mates for life. These 4 or 5 people in the room are mates for life. So it's not only a social sporting aspect, but the social aspect too. And it's a great sport. I think. And I know disability people, they get mental health and they get depressed. I think there's a good outlet for them to come. If they don't play, they can socialise. They can be part of the volunteering, the coaching, supporting staff. And the more people to have a go. Because you can do it. I never played sport till I was 21, and I represented Australia in the Paralympic Games, and I'm still representing Australia. But currently, like I said, just came back from the World Cup, and I'm just turned 50, and I want to make the next World Cup if I can, and that'd be my strong time. So that's when I finish my career, and I go into coaching or mentoring or managing. Like we hope that when players do give up or finish their career as a player, they'll still be associated with us and as mentors, as coaches and players, play with officers, because we all need support from time to time. So just have a go, and hopefully, thank you.
All right, George, what's
Craig, can I just jump in there, John? I really want to recommend people to watch that documentary, because what's shown there in terms of the connection that exists within the teams and the importance of that connection when it comes to mental health and being what comes to people from being in a team, and all those bonds that are there. And you see it at the training, you see it at interaction away from training, you see it especially in the dressing sheds as well. Just the support that's there for each other with these teams. It's it's something else. Sorry for interrupting there,
No, it's perfect, because obviously covering that World Cup, it really sets the table for my next question, and it's about representative football for George. We know that World Cups, and I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but we know that they're incredible events. It's a centerpiece of any sporting code, and it's a fantastic milestone for the PDRL and sort of the greater disabled rugby league community. This last one, as we know, was held in England. You guys flew over there. You mentioned some of the trials and tribulations you went through, but as the event itself, how important was it for you guys?
Yeah, so the World Cup was very important because it brought 4 different countries together. The association was established about 13 years ago, so I think we had to have this World Cup to gain momentum for further World Cups. So I know the next World Cup has been announced, and that's going to be in Australia / New Zealand / Pacific. So a good opportunity for us to rebuild here in terms of numbers, in terms of players, in terms of teams, local teams, and hopefully we'll have a much more stronger team going to the World Cup, which will be based in Australia. And as I said before, I played in the Panama Games in Sydney, and that was very emotional. Having my family, friends here, it's hard when you're overseas because you have to. Your mates are your family, but we stuck together and we done the best we could. And being one of the founders along with Shay, players are coming up to me and thanking me that opportunity to play our game, and it was very emotional for me to make this play because I've actually spoken to them via text message or via Facebook, and it was very emotional for me to know that I changed somebody's life. One example, one of our players in Sydney once told me, "Thanks for saving my life." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, PD, you discovered PD, or you found PD, and without PD, I would have been dead." So to hear that from a player, that was very emotional, very very emotional for me. But to know that I'm changing people's lives all around the world. And but yeah, definitely, I think next World Cup, we're looking forward to the challenge, and hopefully we can pick a great squad and challenge for the Shield.
I can't think of a more powerful message to be given by someone else than that, mate. So obviously speaks to the incredible work you're doing. And that World Cup, you mentioned it was 4 teams. So obviously Australia, England, Wales, but of course New Zealand was there as well. So Shay, I'd love to hear your perspective on that event and what it was like for you, mate.
Yeah, so a little bit more to the story there. I mean, it's really, as George has said, there's improving the profile of the game. The World Cup was awesome for that. And at the competitive level, the extra bit to the story is, unfortunately, I picked up a hernia 2 days before I was meant to fly out.
Goodness.
So I missed that. I mean, it is what it is, right? And supported them from here. It would have been great to be there, but I'm hoping to be around for further competitions. I mean, the competitive angle gives us something to train for. A lot of the time when we grow up, we are either rocks or diamonds. You know, people give us stuff for free. You know, you don't have to do stuff, or we're just told that we can't participate. The sport allows us to learn that if we put in, we're going to get success, we're going to get failure, and to move on from that and learn how we can succeed and how we can, you know, if we put in for it, and what we can achieve. So that's what's great about it. You're playing guys. Some of them might be more able than you, some of them are less able, but I never feel that it's unfair. Like sometimes when you play against able bods in certain sports, you know, it's just you just don't get a look in. So that competitive nature, it teaches you about yourself. And some of the boys had a bit of an excitement today, and there was they were competitive for the game, but they'll walk away from it and they'll learn something from it. You know, they might have got a bit excited, but they're going to learn something from that long term, and they got to win and others lost, and you learn to win, you learn to lose, and you learn that the close ones, you can't get them all. But I think there's a lot of learning going there in the competition because it's all just for fun. We don't get that in a lot of our lives, you know. So hopefully it allows us to grow into other jobs and other things we can do.
That's
Can
great.
I also add, we're going to the World Cup. We know what the standard is now with the likes of England and New Zealand and Wales. So we know what we have to get to be competitive the next World Cup. And it gives us a good standing because we've got some new players coming in, and we've got 2 or 3 years now to prepare for the World Cup instead of like 4 or 5 days. So it's good for us that we've seen like where we need to be at to be competitive. So I think we're preparing well for next World Cup. We've now gone into camps. I think we've had our 4th camp or for this year for this strain. Select 30 that we've picked, and then that will reduce, of course, coming close to the World Cup. But I think now we're more structured, and we'll be ready to go for next World Cup.
That's some really, really good perspective on that mental approach to both just the competition in general and the World Cup, boys. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the just listening to Shay talk about the that learning about losses, learning about what comes from competition. I mean, without the PDRL, as you said, Shay, there's times when you're just told, no, you can't do this. And now, you've got a sport where you can experience the exact same emotions, the exact same competition, the sort of learning experiences that everyone else gets, and that's really what you want in any aspect of the community, isn't it? Just to be able to have the similar experiences to everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to be known that I'm not a disabled rugby league player. I'm a rugby league player because we're all
that's it.
Play different leagues. Ladies play their league, wheelchair play their league, men's play their league, we play our league. So I'm not a disabled rugby player. I'm a rugby league player. And
yeah, and the NRL boys, they obviously have speed, they have size, they have strength, and they have smarts to play. We don't all have that, but we have facets of that. And when we work together, it's a pretty good game. And
and you know what? I was just going to say that was the overriding message that came through from that documentary as well. That you're rugby league players, that was just it. And seeing the scenes in the sheds with the bumps and the bruises and the going through the exact same sort of, well, not the exact same, but going through the experience of playing the game and the highs, the lows, the physicality of it. And I think, as Adam Hills said, when he was feeling all those bumps and bruises, all he wants to do is get back out on the field again. Yeah. Just get back out on the field again.
I mean, as I said, we were family over there. So you want to help your brother achieve something on the field. So we had to stick together, we had to pull together. We had some pretty much dark days and people getting COVID and gastro. So we need to step up. And I think over the World Cup experience, I think we got better as the games went along, and we became competitive. As I said, we only had 4 days as the Gold Coast guys, so no combinations, that type of stuff. Where the England guys will be training for 6 months to 12 months. They were training for this Pacific Championship. So for us to actually train for 4 days as a team, get over there, go for the gastro and the COVID, I think we've done really well.
George, is there an opportunity for more countries to become involved in the near future in World Cup?
Yeah, for sure. I know. I've heard from that World Cup, the last World Cup, South Africa were looking at a team, and so was Ireland. But for some reasons, being financial, getting people together, that wasn't possible. I heard France are looking at the game as long as Ireland again. So yeah, definitely there's going to be more countries. I'm trying to get Fiji established to have like a test series back in our backyard. So if we can't go to England every 5 minutes, we can play against New Zealand and Fiji and Australia. So I'm looking at that at the moment. Looking at getting Fiji up and running. We've got about 8 boys there at the moment who are interested in the concept, and I think once it becomes official, I think more boys will come forward to play for the heritage or for the country Fiji. So definitely, it's a great sport where any person with a physical disability can play our sport.
And talking about opportunities to play more football, we know that the World Cup is the crown jewel in terms of international rugby league at any level, but domestically, State of Origin is held in a special place for rugby league. I know that there was some history of city versus country for the PDRL, but with city versus country, unfortunately, going the way of the dinosaur, that's no longer a thing. Is State of Origin on the horizon for you guys as well, whether it's New South Wales, Queensland, or maybe other states?
Yeah, so when we first established the association and the games, we've got 2 rep games that are internal, and they're the city country, as you just said, and we've got the All-Star game. So it's Indigenous players, heritage and Maori or New Zealand descent. They play in the combined Indigenous Nations team, and then we've got the All-Star. So that's right. That's like our state of origin at the moment. That's always been our state of origin. We play at Redfern Oval during NAIDOC week, the first week of NAIDOC. I think it's usually the first week of July. So that's a big game for us because the boys get up for that. But yeah, I mean, anyone wants to play for the States, and I know they've got about 12 players currently playing the Rugby League in the Gold Coast area, Queensland area, and there's been talk. I sit on the same board, and there's definitely been talk about having some sort of state of origin concept with PD Rugby League. And again, I mean, it's a pinnacle of your sport. You want to play for your country, of course, but for your states. And I think that will probably happen in the next 2 years. I'm confident that will happen in the next 2 years, and that you get more opportunity to represent your country and, of course, your state now. Yeah.
I'd also want to throw. Oh, sorry about that, George.
No, you're keep talking.
I was just going to. I wanted to throw a question to Todd because we mentioned that that Indigenous All Stars game being on the calendar. Todd's been involved in that game. How enjoyable is it to take part in the Indigenous All Stars game?
Well, I first played in the All-Star game back in 2016 and played that all the way up to now. And I was captain of the Indigenous team in 2019. And, it's been a great experience doing that. And I'm just very proud to represent my culture and my people. Like every other Indigenous player in the team, and Pacifica players as well that play with us. Really good. We won the last couple of games in a row last year and this year, so it's good.
An absolute honour to be captain of the team there, Todd, and congratulations for that. That's I'm wondering whether that would be a tremendous goal if at some point in the future the PDRL Indigenous game could be part of the larger Indigenous All-Star concept, played perhaps at the same venue as the NRL Indigenous All-Stars game.
I reckon that would be pretty good. It would be a great honour to do that as well. We would love that, and so yeah.
Todd, do you think that something like that would be a realistic goal at some point? Is it something that could be achieved?
Yeah, I think, can I answer that? Yeah, I think, as I sit on the same board, I think the NRL have got involved more this year than yesteryear. So that's a great opportunity. As you said, I mean, most of our Indigenous players come from like Dubbo and Armidale.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to represent your people from them areas really means a lot to the Indigenous fellas. And as I said to you before, it's our state of origin. These guys lift for the families and for the culture, and it's a great spectacle. But yeah, I definitely believe that we play exhibition games anyway, like in front of home stadiums, it's like in front of ANZ. We're playing at Henson Park on the 31st of August. We're playing a double header, like in front of a live audience. We do get people here, family, friends, but actually have a live audience watch us. It's very special, and we're also having our exhibition game this week, this Friday. Roosters play Parramatta, I think it is. Yeah, but Newtown PD are playing Roosters at the exhibition game. So before a live audience at Accor Stadium, Allianz Stadium. So it's a great opportunity because the boys were out there in front of 2,000 people, and just excitement. It's awesome.
I was going to say, Henson Park's one of our old stomping grounds, isn't it? 60s are out there. It feels like every few weeks, whether it's junior reps or reserve grades. So it's one of the classic venues.
and the day we play is a reunion day, so it's going to be packed.
Yep.
You have the old players
Yep.
watching, and like I said, by the time we play, we should have a good build up of play of supporters, and people know who we are. So people on the hill might know someone who has cerebral palsy or who has a guy that's got is an amputee or API, and say, right, this is a sport for you. That's how I chose the players. When I started this league up many years ago with Shays, I sourced players which I knew could play a game, and they're still playing today.
No, great answer there, mate. And this is a question that I am really looking forward to the answer to, because Craig sort of teased it, but we had some fun in the warm up for the podcast talking about some of the results today. So this one's for Joel. We're recording this podcast with you on match day, but it's post game. So what were today's results, and can you give us an updated competition ladder?
Yeah, so you've chosen the right day to talk to me. Roosters beat Rabbitohs today 24-16, which they beat us last round. There's been a bit of rain for a couple of rounds, so the games are a bit out of order.
Yep.
We had Newtown and West Tigers. West Tigers won that one 14-12, which again another upset given last round. And yeah, for both teams, they were beating teams that won the last two rounds. And Newtown have been pretty unbeatable the last year or so, 2 years. The ladder, it's sort of, because not everyone's versus each other yet, it's going to be a bit out of whack, but we've got South and Newtown are definitely sticking to the top at this stage.
So South's 4 points. South's the first, coming to 4 and against. Newtown the second. Then the two underdogs won today. So West Tigers are 2, and Roosters coming fourth on their 4 and against on 2 points. So it's a pretty close competition. I think it's round 3 we've played, so we've got 3 more rounds to go before the finals.
We should have 2 Tigers games against Roosters still coming up, so they haven't versed each other this season yet because of the rain.
And all the matches are out there at Cabramatta?
Yes. A home base in Cabramatta. We usually take a game on the road each year, and this year we're taking it to Hens Park.
Yep.
31st of August, and we actually play before the Nissan Jets team. So we'll be like a tournament. We're not playing a regular game. We're playing full our round 4, round 5 it is. We're actually playing a full game.
Right. So that's but apart from that, that's your home base there at Cabramatta.
Yes. I mean, we take exhibition games here and there, but we've dabbled with playing an AL Bean for 1 year, but Cabramatta, because they support us, we go back to the club, support them. We use their facilities, so we support them.
Well, absolutely brilliant. George, we're going to wrap things up with just throwing a question to you that we hope we get a great response to, which is, what's the best way for anyone that wants to be involved to get in touch with you? And, of course, we're talking about players, we're talking about volunteers, potential sponsors, or anyone looking to help. Is there a phone number, an email? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
I got passing the Che because he's our secretary, so he knows more. But I'll pass him the Che.
Okay, yeah. So I think we've got a website, and I'm not going to. Unfortunately, I can get it to you. Can anyone? I don't think I can quote it exactly off the head.
Well, what we'll do, we'll grab this off you. We'll put it on when we post this podcast on the Cumberland Throw. We'll attach the details of the website then. But there is a website that we can go to. Is there anyone that they like? If someone just has a general inquiry as well, is there like a phone number that they can ring just to talk to someone?
I think the email goes to some of the community members, operations like it is. So if someone's asked for like how do I get involved, or how do I sponsor, or how do I do this,
am I likely to be eligible? Things like that. We answer those.
Answer those quickly. For the next 48 hours, you get a reply, and then you go from there. But there's definitely a website. Most of our games are like live streams. We got a guy that actually live streams the games from the grandstand. So you definitely, So there's avenues of actually watching the game and getting involved. We're always looking for sponsors. Anything we can, any money we can get in, much appreciated. We actually, the NRL clubs usually give us the jerseys from the yesteryear, so we actually playing first grade jerseys. So that's good from the NRL clubs, but we definitely need more opportunities to get more funding to do more activities for the association.
The website, I believe, is New South Wales, nswpdrla.com.au, and you've got the contact us section where you can also get in contact on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Linktree.
PDRL.
Yes.
Yeah. So for sure, so if you have an inquiry, someone will answer that call. We've got different departments. We've got operations. We've got game day. We've got the board. So anything that relates to that issue will go to the specific person to answer.
Yep. Exactly.
And I'd just like to raise one other thing, which we haven't talked about, and it may or may not be obvious to people, but we have touch football in our game. So this opens up the game for females. And we actually don't have any at the moment, I believe. We've had them in the past.
Yes.
And they can be very integrative, great players on the field. We play the touch rules,
Yes.
and it integrates perfectly.
Yeah.
So just like to make that point
definitely more females and more indigenous players. This is an inclusive game, not only because it's disabled, but also a female. So we definitely need more females in our game to make it a truly inclusive game for PD Rugby League.
All right, I think that's a fantastic place to wrap it up, and I sincerely hope that we can get some people in touch with you, whether it's volunteers, sponsors, players, coaches, officials, anything, because it's an incredible initiative. And our chat with you over this you've been very generous of your time. This last 45, 50 minutes has been really, really insightful. So thank you so much for your time, guys. We cannot wish you guys enough success in the PDRL and beyond. We encourage our listeners to pass on the good word, and let's get some more people involved because it is a fantastic cause.
So thanks for your time, and when Pamela does come back in the comp, we'd like to see you guys live, filming from the grandstand, the first ever game, coming back in the comp.
Sounds like a great plan.
To go back and to actually meet the players and to have a beer after the game.
I like that. Thanks a lot, guys. You have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you soon, okay?
Thank
you very much.
Guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.